Sometimes I can barely walk because of my lower back.
He was still chopping firewood, climbing trees with chainsaws, things like that, doing physical work.
Like in the last week, I can't remember a whole lot of what's happened because of the anesthesia. That affects everybody different, and apparently it affects my short-term memory for a while.
I know that at the last hearing, the court requested some medical information, which I received midday yesterday. I didn't have written permission or release sign from my client to disclose that. I finally got written permission, so I do have some medical information I can run upstairs to the court or present after the hearing for the court today. Not knowing how the court wants to proceed, I don't know if the court wants to adjourn to review the information. I don't know if the court wants to proceed today, but we're here in order to address the issue.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it today and see where we're at. This is date and time set for front of the court show cause hearing with regard to child support. Mr. Graff, if you'd state your name for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jacob Graff on behalf of respondent Eric Charters.
Mr. Charters, if you'd state your name for the record, please.
Eric Charters.
Amanda Charters.
Case of Amanda Charters versus Eric Charters. Full cause hearing occurred May 11th this year. At that hearing, Mr. Charters alleged manifest hardship, and that's as a result of that allegation. The matter was adjourned to today's date, and Mr. Charters was ordered to provide verification of his stated manifest hardship. Nothing has been received by the court to this point, and in fact, not a single payment has been made on this case. There is an order of custody, support, and parenting time that was entered just May of 2022, just a little over a year ago. It requires $919 a month for 2 children. The arrearage balance has skyrocketed to $12,932.50. Of that amount, $12,194 is owed directly to Ms. Charters, the remainder in fees and medical support to the state of Michigan for the health insurance that is provided by the state of Michigan. I can pull the payment history up for the court's review. There is no payment.
There hasn't, but yeah, I was going to say there's not much on there. Mr. Graff.
Good morning, Your Honor. Your Honor, as Mr. Hogue indicated, yes, we're here back on May 11th. Mr. Charters informed me of some medical issues he was dealing with, and this court did order, and it was in the written order to provide medical documentation. I had not received anything. It sounds like the court never received anything. Yesterday, I did receive some documents from my client. They are from the Pain Care Center. It's a couple, I guess, months of notes from a physician. He does not have any information regarding any disability claims. He did inform me that apparently the mail, I sent him several letters, he didn't get those letters, and included in those letters was a release so that if I got anything from him, I could disclose that information. Apparently he's been having mail issues. He's indicating now he uses a P.O. box, his P.O. Box 22, that'd be in Pavilion, Wyoming. He's also suffered, I guess, some other health issues. He had some teeth pulled recently. His phone, he indicated to me, was cut off for non-payment and just got it reinstated. His quote was last weekend. And so I don't necessarily know that his situation's gotten any better or improved. Like I said, I did bring an extra copy of the medical information I received. I can run that upstairs after this hearing for the court. I'm not sure if it'll meet the court's, I guess, what they were expecting. I've also instructed Mr. Charters that obviously the disability claims would be most important. I think that's what the court really wanted to see. And so I don't know if the court wants to adjourn to give him that opportunity, but it doesn't sound like his health situation's got any better.
I didn't hear any information about whether he could work today. Did you get anything that says that? I mean, that's correct. What's his manifest hardship? Your
Honor, I believe when we were here back on the 11th, I noted some concerns that he had expressed to me. He suffers from scoliosis as well as some other spinal problems, and he's in the process of applying for disability. As he explained to me, apparently the endocrinologist, if I'm saying that correctly, that is local or was somewhat local, closed down their office permanently. And so he can't get an appointment with the new endocrinologist in Wyoming until October, but he still suffers from these medical disabilities in which he's expressed that he cannot work. It's not entirely clear from these records, but some of these records do indicate primary diagnosis, chronic pain syndrome, low back. Number 2, comorbid diagnosis, sleep apnea, anxiety, depression, OIC, insomnia. 3, medical, surgical, radiological diagnosis, scoliosis, DDD, C-spine. And it talks about the care that they've gone through over the last couple of months. But I would leave that the court obviously review that to see if that is sufficient to show that he is unable to work. But it does sound as like the scoliosis and the degenerative disc disease of his spine is causing incredible pain which prohibits him from engaging in any significant work, as explained to me. And I guess that's why I hope to have the information regarding disability to know exactly what, if any, limitations have been placed in their response, whether denial, approving, or partial denial or acceptance.
Well, I know that you don't have the information, but has he disclosed to you where we are in the disability process, or?
I can let Mr. Charters probably update you. Apparently, if my notes are correct here, I'll let Mr. Charters answer that as I look.
That's fine. That's okay. You can say you don't. I was just wondering because I don't know where a big problem here is. I was looking for something to say that he, can't work. I'm not really disputing whether he's had certain diagnoses, but I'm not a doctor. I don't know if what prevents, what. I've seen plenty of, here's what I can do though, is receive documents that say this person can work with limited this person can't work or whatever. That makes it a lot easier on me than for me to have to guess where we're at. So, Mr. Charters, where are we at with the disability issue?
The short version is I'm asking for a little bit more time because of circumstances that arose recently that really hindered me from putting this documentation together. The list of ailments that keep me from being able to even land a job, let alone keep it, is longer than what was mentioned. And there is documentation to prove I can't use my left hand. Sometimes I can barely walk because of my lower back. The endocrinologist stuff, that's because that has to do with the medications not being adjusted right, which puts me in a very bad state of being low on cortisol and thyroid. And that's life-threatening if it gets too severe, but it's completely leaves me non-functional. More recently, in the last couple of months and the last week, I've had the surgery on my teeth, extracting the teeth, because for the first time in my life, I can't get them worked on, can't afford a root canal, so I have had to have them pulled. The mail issues, my internet and phone, and there's one other issue. So there's a lot there. If the court would allow me the opportunity to put together the documentation with a little bit more time, I can. I'm fine to adjourn. I mean, I think I said this last time. It's not that I don't believe you. It's that, I mean, in 60 days, I think we should have already had all that information, but we don't. And I don't know why that is, but. Okay, the 60 days, I can answer to that. Over the past 60 days, I've been in so much pain that it has been difficult to function. I have been on track to put together all the documents. However, in the last couple of weeks, things have gotten to where, like in the last week, I can't remember a whole lot of what's happened because of the anesthesia. That affects everybody different. And apparently it affects my short-term memory for a while. Getting ready for this with a week of anesthetic, post-anesthetic effects has been, it's just been, I've forgotten where I put information and all that stuff. Didn't even know that certain conversations took place. My friends have helped me. I have a handful of good friends and they have helped me, but I need a little more time to do that. The past couple of months has been intensely challenging, and I apologize for that. I did not foresee that. Even a little bit more time would allow me to put this stuff together and prove that I really have some serious challenges. All right. Yeah, I'll adjourn it out 60 days, see if we can figure this out. I would ask that you stay in contact with your attorney, Mr. Graff. I'm not going to release Mr. Graff just yet because I'm only adjourning this. I'm not making an ultimate decision on it. In that time, that's another amount. I mean, Ms. Charters, did you have any input or anything you'd like to add?
He has dealt with these issues for our entire marriage. Some of them, from the endocrinologist, from the pain doctors. And when I was there with him still in 2020 in Wyoming, he was still chopping firewood, climbing trees with chainsaws, things like that, doing physical work. So that's what I would say. And in his superior claim to custody dated in May of 2021, he stated that he has the physical ability to care for the children. He's the healthiest and strongest he has been in many years, and he has resumed daily workouts and outdoor activity. that he's pursued years ago. He's strong enough to support and keep up athletically with the kids' activities.
Okay, so hopefully we'll get to the, thank you for that, ma'am. So hopefully we'll get to the bottom of this, because it's just going to keep growing. And even I'm not suspending the child support amount, so that arrears will just keep growing. And just for Mr. Charter's sake, that doesn't, nothing that I do today will stop the prosecutor from pursuing felony charges against you. You're up in an amount that you're in that felony amount. So it would help to have the information. You know, I'm trying to work with you on the child support end for our enforcement purposes, but the prosecutor could always take over the case and bring something against you, and then you'd have to face felony charges. So we'll adjourn 60 days and see where we're at. But sort of based on what Ms. Charters is saying too, I mean, I think we know I'm looking for something that says what your abilities actually are. Because if it's true, that's why I'm saying I'm not disputing the diagnoses or whatever. It's what your ability is. And she's claiming you have the ability to jump around and climb around and use equipment, and you're claiming you can't. So
there are
I don't know what to tell you, but we need more than what we need more information than what we have now, and you have 60 days to provide that.
Thank you. I understand.
All right. Thank you.